Greetings, travelers, and welcome to the latest Tempo Wild Meta Snapshot for United in Stormwind. We're now 2 weeks into the new expansion, and for the Wild format, one thing has become abundantly clear: questline Warlocks have a chokehold on the meta. For this Meta Snapshot, we're breaking out the rarely used S tier for questline Darkglare Warlock and questline Combo Warlock. Tier S is only used for decks that are so powerful that they warp the metagame to an extreme degree, almost single-handedly determining which decks are viable and which ones are not. So both questline Darkglare and questline Combo Warlock decks are tier S, but what makes this pair of Warlock decks so powerful? Both of these decks use the tried and true Darkglare engine to draw cards, gain mana, and accelerate their threats, but it's the Demon Seed that puts them over the top. The Warlock questline has Blightborn Tamsin as its ultimate reward, redirecting all damage done to you during your turns back to the opponent after you play her. With all the self-damaging effects Warlock has in Wild, not only is it easy to play Tamsin on curve, but it's also easy to use those same self-damage effects to annihilate the opponent afterward. Any deck that aims to win in the later turns can't deal with Blightborn Tamsin at all, so almost every mid-range control or attrition deck has disappeared from Wild altogether. That leaves aggro and combo decks, but even the fastest decks in the game still struggle to beat questline Warlocks before the Giants and Tamsin hit the board, especially with all of the classes' removal and healing. Questline Warlock decks are oppressive, but is there anything out there that can keep them in check? Despite pushing out a majority of the old decks in the meta, there are a handful of fast aggro and combo decks left that can still keep up. On the aggressive end, Pirate Warrior, Aggro Priest, and Aggro Paladin are all fast enough to contest the board and threaten the Warlocks before they can get Giants and Tamsin online. And on the combo side, Mizaki Mage can buy just enough turns with Ice Block to unleash an OTK win condition of its own. Despite having decent matchups against Warlocks, these decks still can't be considered hard counters, since questline Warlocks can still be tuned with tech choices to turn the tide back in their favor. Beyond that, there are a handful of other decks that are still seeing some experimentation at high levels. One of the most exciting ones to pick up steam is questline Druid, which uses a wide variety of rarely seen Druid cards to gain attack and complete the Druid questline quickly. This deck can generate stacks of armor while dealing tons of damage, and it has a better than average questline Warlock matchup, but its matchups against other common decks in the meta are a mixed bag. Another new deck to keep on your radar is Odd Questline Hunter, which holds its ground in United in Stormwind thanks to its solid matchups against aggro and mages. And of course, we can't forget about traditional Darkglare Warlock, which is still lurking in the shadow of its questline brethren. Without the Demon Seed, Darkglare Warlock loses some healing and inevitability, but it gains an extra card in the mulligan and easier access to early Molten Giants, which gives it a little bit of an edge in the early game in some matchups, especially against other Warlocks. Altogether, Warlock dominance has reached a critical mass in Wild Hearthstone, and we expect it to become more dominant, not less, as time goes on. Unless we see a drastic balance change, or unless a new meta breaker emerges to keep Warlock in check, we're in for some dark times with United in Stormwind. For more details on today's Wild meta, be sure to check out the full report on tempostorm.com, and as always, thank you for watching.